I thought I'd read a little Nietzsche because it seems relevant to the discussion we've been having about morality and nature and how to find an objective morality by observing the natural process of um, organisms avoiding pain and pursuing pleasure and thereby churning the gears of evolution. Um, let's see what Nietzsche had to say, or hear, rather. Let us beware of thinking the world is a living being. Whither should it spread itself? What should it nourish itself with? How could it grow and multiply? We know indeed, more or less, what the organic is, and shall we interpret the unspeakably derivative, late, rare, chance phenomena which we perceive only on the surface of the earth into the essential, universal, eternal, as they do who call the universe an organism? I find that disgusting. Let us likewise beware of believing the universe is a machine. It is certainly not constructed so as to perform some operation. We do it far too great honor with the word machine. Let us beware of presupposing that something so orderly as the cyclical motions of our planetary neighbors are the general and universal case. Even a glance at the Milky Way gives rise to doubt whether there may not exist far more crude and contradictory motions, likewise stars with eternally straight trajectories and the like. The astral order in which we live is an exception. This order and the apparent permanence which is conditional upon it is in its turn made possible by the exception of exceptions, that is, the formation of the organic. The total nature of the world is, on the other hand, to all eternity chaos, not in the sense that necessity is lacking, but in that order, structure, form, beauty, wisdom, and whatever other human aesthetic notions we may have are lacking. Judged from the viewpoint of our reason, the unsuccessful cases are far and away the rule. The exceptions are not the secret objective, and the whole contraption repeats its theme, which can never be called a melody, over and over again to eternity. And ultimately, even the term unsuccessful case is already a humanization which contains a reproof. But how can we venture to reprove or praise the universe? Let us beware of attributing to it heartlessness and unreason, or their opposites. It is neither perfect, nor beautiful, nor noble, and has no desire to become any of these. It is by no means striving to imitate mankind. It is quite impervious to all our aesthetic and moral judgments. It has likewise no impulse to self-preservation or impulses of any kind. Neither does it know any laws. Let us beware of saying there are laws in nature. There are only necessities. There is no one to command, no one to obey, no one to transgress. When you realize that there are no goals or objectives, then you realize, too, that there is no chance, for only in a world of objectives does the word chance have any meaning. Let us beware of saying that death is the opposite of life. The living being is only a species of the dead, and a very rare species. So Nietzsche really turns a lot of common sense on its head there. Um, I think I agree with, I've said in a lot of videos that I think the universe is an organism, but I said that for the same reasons that Nietzsche is saying that we um, can't call it, we can't assign our own mechanistic view of, say, the rational thought process onto nature, because rationality is instrumental. It's designed to accomplish a goal. And when we view nature through this, it's really, in a sense, a side effect of technology, the view of the world that allows us and that motivates us to technologize our societies and our day-to-day activities is this, Heidegger called it enframing, where we look at the world as a standing reserve of resources that we can use to accomplish whatever it may be, whatever we want. And I would call the universe an organism in the sense that man is not at all separate from that organism, the cosmos. Nietzsche seems to think that when we call something an organism, that it is, in a sense, we're projecting something that's very rare uh, and saying that it's the very nature of all of the universe. When for Nietzsche, it was clear that when you look out at outer space, the real universe, the vast emptiness, the majority of the mass and space of existence is all around us. Earth is this measly rock in the middle of nowhere. But Nietzsche thought the laws that guide the formal, almost eternal Platonic ideas that seem to allow the mind of man to mathematically understand the motions of the planets. That type of order for Nietzsche wasn't something we should expect to find in other solar systems. But I think we've actually been able to look at other solar systems with telescopes, and we can verify that the laws of gravity and planetary motion are pretty much the same as far as we measure them. Um, so there is some kind of it's a telos, a purpose embedded in the course of nature, the flow of this energy through time. And I mean, time is the key ingredient there because energy on its own is eternal. It can't be created or destroyed. It's all here, really, in every point of space at all times. And that's 0 point energy, basically. So the theory goes. But when you add time to energy, you sort of spread it out. It becomes potential energy or kinetic energy that's always outpacing itself. It's not where it is, it's reaching for more. It's become polarized, and all of that duality requires time. So I think when Nietzsche says something like the total nature of the world is eternal chaos, and that there is no order or structure, form, beauty, or any of these human constructs, um, that the universe is just falling apart. It's all entropy. It's all fragmented and separated. The reason I say it's an organism is because it's not quite it's organized. Um, there are not any laws. There are habits, right? And when Nietzsche says that there are only necessities, what he's saying is there is no one, uh, no person, no will separate from an action, no mind separate from a body. So no one is in prison, no one's in a jail cell trying to beg and plead um, a body to obey. It's like you're in jail yelling at society to let you out. Nietzsche was trying to break out of that prison, but into a universe which he found meaningless. And I don't think we have to assume that it is meaningless. We can assume that we can experience it as a living organism which has a purpose. Because, Nietzsche is trying to get rid of this dualism, but at the same time, he is making his consciousness into the objective observer of the universe that all of philosophy and science have, the knowledge of the universe that all of philosophy and science have provided for man. Taking all of that history into consideration, Nietzsche is standing outside of it and saying, this all happens, and there's no reason for there to be someone that it happens to. And that's why Heidegger says that he's the culmination of Western metaphysics, the entire project of philosophy since Plato and Parmenides really got it started, but Maybe he was more of a poet. Maybe Nietzsche's more of a poet.